It's that season to chill out, kick back, snuggle up, and relax with a discussion of 5 of my personal favorite cozy winter games. There's just something about firing up one of your favorite games while the weather gets colder and the snow falls that hits like nothing else, and I thought this would be a nice chill video to mix things up. So grab a hot cup of cocoa, or if you need a bit more kick, go to gfuel.com/rogue or click the link in the description below and use code ROGUE for a whopping 30% off your order of game-changing energy with G Fuel, an energetic new partner of the channel, so make sure to check that out. Now let's get started and cozy on up with number 5, Diablo 2. There's nothing quite as devilishly charming and calming to me as slaying countless demons, and the absolute masterpiece that is Diablo 2 is one of my go-to comfort games for that. It's good for the soul to purge the world of evil, and I think this is an interesting and probably pretty unique first entry for this kind of list because a cozy winter game for me isn't all about snow or winter within the game itself. Although most of my list actually does consider that pretty heavily, and there's a very nice snowy region in Act 5 with Mount Arreat that has some lovely frosty locations. With one exception, I'm also pretty focused on larger AAA experiences for my list, though I'm sure there's some very cozy indie winter titles. You know, something that was like solo developed by a Swedish lesbian, where you play a cute bear finding a suitable place to hibernate that is both gorgeous and amazing. But for me, it's more about nostalgia and vibes, and something about Diablo 2's grim locales and areas just hits that vibe perfectly for me, where I want to snuggle up and slay my way through its world during the colder time of the year. The overcast, rainy location of Act 1 is particularly nostalgic and almost comforting with its cold plains and caves. Despite its demon-filledness, as it's an act I've played through so many times, I find it engaging and fun each and every time. I think what also contributes to Diablo's coziness for me is that you always have a clear and fairly straightforward gameplay loop that is just as satisfying if you play for 15 minutes or several hours. Slaying demons, looting items, identifying and selling them, then setting back out for more slaying. It's just a nice chill rhythm that lets me listen to podcasts or YouTube or music in the background as I'm bundled up and not feel like I'm missing out on anything in the gaming experience. Sure, you can get some nightmare enemy combos or effects that will absolutely wreck your day, but unless I'm really cranking things up in difficulty, Diablo 2 is actually a fairly stress-free game for me. It doesn't demand my full attention, but remains engaging enough to stay fun even as I might have things going on in the background. So while I'm already contradicting myself and saying this might not be the coziest game per se, it's absolutely a comfort one for me. I'm realizing now that a big part of that is the soundtrack too. Diablo 2's music is subtle, restrained, and atmospheric in a way that perfectly matches winter gaming vibes. The singular lonely guitar playing, the low ambience of the wilderness, the distant percussion in the dungeons, it masterfully creates this feeling of isolation, like you're the only light left in a dark, dreary world. And something about that isolation just fits the shorter, darker days of winter for me as well. A masterpiece in every sense of the word, and one that I'm happy to return to again and again, especially the resurrected version now. Diablo 2 deserves a spot as a horrifying yet comfy winter gaming experience. Number 4, The Long Dark. The night is dark and full of terrors. Maybe cozy isn't quite the word to use for this video now that I'm thinking of it, because much like Diablo, my next entry is a little more tense and brutal than what that word might suggest. Regardless, if you want to be fully immersed into winter itself, it's hard to beat The Long Dark when it comes to pure freezing survival. An incredibly immersive game, The Long Dark presents a brutal survival experience as you navigate and scavenge your way to safety through a harsh and unforgiving wilderness. On the verge of starvation, exhaustion, and hypothermia, you battle the elements, and if you want to feel the freezing cold of winter while remaining wrapped up in your warm blankie inside, then The Long Dark is pretty much unmatched for that vibe. The atmosphere is really well done, and there's a strange, silent melancholy as you discover and search various cabins and abandoned homes throughout its world, finding abandoned items, tools, clothing, and the occasional frozen corpse. Starting up a crackling fire and finally getting some warmth, the sound design really stands out to me with The Long Dark, with wind and sometimes other more scary things howling in the dark and across the frigid landscape. Visually, the game has a lot more stylized approach and features a lot of wide, empty landscapes and long stretches of silence that's really only broken by the wind and snow crunching beneath your boots. Snowed-in roads, the wilderness, and frozen lakes all reinforce that feeling of isolation that makes it a compelling winter-themed experience to me, makes it fun to play through each winter season. While it can actually have some pretty decent jump scares, for the most part the world is just really eerily quiet, even as you desperately battle the elements. It helps that it's actually fairly difficult to survive because it makes the gameplay feel so much more deliberate and slow-paced. You aren't just sprinting location to location, but instead picking your path with careful planning against the harsh climate. Again, cozy's probably not the word for the long winter, but it deserves a spot here regardless because you really can't find a better winter-based gaming experience in its long, dark, lonely nights. While it's not necessarily comforting, it can be strangely calming. forcing you to slow down and take your time in a modern gaming world that pushes the player to rush and speedrun their way through everything. Just watch out for the bears and frostbite and enjoy the cold. Number 3, Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, you need to have some faith here.
Have some goddamn faith!
Trust me, Red Dead 2 is one of the best winter games out there. Outside of its incredible snow effects, physics, and simulations, once again the pure immersion and slowed down pace of Red Dead 2 makes it the perfect game to fire up when the nights are long, dark, and cold. I remember shortly after release I was attempting to capture and tame the wild pure white Arabian horse that hangs out in the far north of Red Dead 2's map while I had some hot chocolate and it was snowing outside, and it remains one of those core gaming memories. And somehow I still find myself drawn over and over each season to this incredible gaming world. While like the Long Dark, the intro will definitely make you feel the chill, with again a very immersive, realistic, and freezing looking blizzard that you and the gang are stuck in. Even beyond that, and as you enter the warmer climates, I think it just comes down to the general pace and atmosphere of the game for me. You can fish in idyllic ponds or watch a huge storm swell over the plains, and it's all just super immersive. Something about winter gaming in general usually makes me want to just chill out, not with a hyper competitive or fast-paced action game or FPS, but instead maybe with a more methodical, calmer, and deliberate experience. And Red Dead 2 definitely delivers there. It's like my version of hibernation or something. I just find comfort in the slow and realistic approach this game takes to pretty much every action you make. I still read a lot of comments, granted probably a minority opinion given how much people love Red Dead 2, about how much the extremely slow pace of the game kills the gameplay for them, but for me it's almost the entire appeal. It's pretty much a perfect cowboy simulator, and even simple things like removing your saddle or brushing your horse down or skinning animals with deliberate, detailed, and fairly realistic animations is just incredible to me, and I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. Combine that with what I feel is one of the most detailed and best open worlds in gaming, the insanity of how reactive and dynamic characters in the world can be, and one of, if not the best stories in gaming, then, well, you'd have to be Red Dead to not enjoy it. I know this turned into me just kind of gushing about Red Dead 2, but damn it, I'm gonna do it every time and I really don't care. Taking a long horseback ride up to the Grizzlies, finding a nice spot to set up camp, brewing some coffee, and just watching the sunrise over the mountains. Again, there's an immersiveness to Red Dead 2's world that makes it the perfect winter game for me. The atmosphere, again, is almost unmatched when it comes to open worlds. However, it still doesn't quite crack the top of my list, because for pure winter vibes, it's just beat out by number 2, The Division. An almost unparalleled achievement in world building and atmosphere, the first Division game's setting is still pretty much unmatched for me when it comes to immersion. While I appreciated a lot of the gameplay improvements Division 2 made, and I personally think there were a lot of improvements, it never hit as hard as the first one solely due to the setting. The frozen and snowy streets of New York with the Division's gorgeous lighting system on full display when blizzards or heavy fog roll through is still one of the most immersive and impressive video game worlds ever created, in my humble opinion. Say what you will about the game or the gameplay itself, or even Ubisoft in general, which to be fair there's plenty of not so great things to say, but if there's one thing they nail every single time, it's the gaming worlds they create. And not only is The Division no exception there, it's just snow freaking amazing, even still to explore and run around the icy blocks of New York. Being essentially post-apocalyptic, there's a massive amount of visual storytelling as well, and entering looted apartment buildings, high-intensity quarantine zones, and alleyways, and of course the Dark Zone remain as intense and intriguing as ever. The Dark Zone, especially with the glitching of your gear and UI and darker tone and vibe, is just incredible. And those first few weeks of avoiding or ganking or cooperating with strangers, and it was some of my favorite gaming memories ever. Seeing the popularity of titles like Arc Raiders or Tarkov, it's actually impressive how ahead of its time The Division and Dark Zone really were, and it's unfortunate that Ubisoft was never able to fully capitalize on this extremely unique gameplay experience. Now, you may be wondering what exactly is cozy about a virus-ridden, death-filled post-apocalyptic New York, and well, look at those snow effects. I guess it depends on what you're looking for with a nice cozy winter game. In this case, the overall dreariness just fits the winter vibe so incredibly well, and if you really want to ramp up the immersiveness and feel the true chill of the game, I highly recommend trying the survival mode that was added in a later update. While it's, to be fair, pretty dead now as a mode, it's still one of the coolest experiences you can have within the game, and one of my personal favorite survival type modes. Crashing out in a helicopter as your immune system crashes out as well, you're fully infected and caught in a massive blizzard and snowstorm. Visibility is terrible, it's freezing, and you gotta scavenge anything you can to survive, and it's just amazing. Seeing the glow of fires or warmer areas as you rush almost blindly through the blizzard is just so well done that I can't help but return and play a few rounds almost every winter season. It's an experience that will make you definitely appreciate your nice heated home as you play through it. I know this is probably a divisive pick, but the First Division remains one of my favorite cozy winter games even now. Number 1, Skyrim. Don't act so surprised. The clear number 1 coziest winter game, and really the impetus to make this video at all, is the undying and eternal Skyrim. I'm obviously biased here, but there is no better winter game than Skyrim. While it can be fun year-round, there's something about playing this during the fall and winter months that just hits like nothing else. There's probably only been 1 or maybe 2 fall or winter seasons since the game's release 14 years ago that I haven't bundled up and booted up Skyrim at some point. It's like coming home for the holidays every single time, as its tundra valleys, snowy peaks, fall and pine trees, and freezing blizzards are just so immersive and atmospheric even now, though I admit that nostalgia plays a big role here too. While I have the Enhanced Storms mod and a few visual tweaks, honestly, even by today's standards, Skyrim's weather effects and snow is just really well done. It's not exactly dynamic in its physics or the most technically impressive in its appearance like in more modern titles, but the entire vibe is just sold so well by the various visual tricks Skyrim pulls off that makes the winter aesthetics of the game almost timeless. Traveling across the icy bays of the northern coast or hanging around Winterhold, I can feel the frostbite setting in. And of course, you can enhance this immersion further through survival mods and the survival mode if you so desire, where you need to keep and dress warm through various means within the game. The snow-draped peaks, the frozen caves with their icicled stalactites, the freezing, dank, dark dungeons as wind howls outside, there's so much to appreciate with the game's world and setting. Even for those that aren't huge Skyrim fans or think it's a weaker entry in the series, which, fair enough, I get the complaints, you can't deny just how cozy and atmospheric its setting can be. The climb and view from the throat of the world as wind blows snow across the massive mountain peak is still almost as breathtaking today as it was on release, and there's a comfort in the familiarity and nostalgia of these frozen lands. Despite its frigidness, there's a warmth that Skyrim has that makes you just want to get a belly full of mead, put your feet up in a tavern with a crackling hearth, and hear a bard's terrible song. I can't really talk about the immersion of Skyrim, however, without mentioning its masterpiece of a soundtrack. Even just hearing it makes me think of winter nights and home, and it's the perfect companion to what is already a very immersive adventure as you travel and journey throughout the world with your character. Hearing the swelling tones of the game's music, when combined with its winter aesthetics and atmosphere, there's a reason Skyrim is still one of the most popular video games of all time, and almost without fail, every fall and winter season, I feel the call to its snowy peaks. And there you have it, a few of my favorite cozy and maybe not so cozy winter games to enjoy. I know this is a bit of a different video, but I really enjoyed making it, so let me know your comfort games in the comments below. And once again, if you enjoyed, consider subscribing for more rankings, check out the link in the description, and use code ROGUE for a nice discount and to support the channel with G Fuel. That's it for me, until next time.